Good evening, married people. Thank you so much for joining Team Davis this evening. I'm Sean. This is my lovely
I'm
wife.
Asia.
Yes, we are so happy that you have decided to join us this year for Love Notes
3.0.
3.0.
Tonight
Thank
it
you.
is your best night in. So we are excited to celebrate Love Notes 3.0 virtual edition.
And brothers, I'm sorry, babe, but
No,
I
you go
just I
ahead.
just have to say, listen, if you're anything like me, I know tonight is a special night for a couple of reasons. Yes, we're here for Love Notes. We want to celebrate love. We want to celebrate marriage, but also it's a little rivalry going on this evening here in the
Yeah.
Carolinas.
Yeah.
Duke of Carolina, we have not forgotten about you. I understand that they are at halftime, and my Tar Heels are up 41-39 right now.
Okay, well, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. And so we'll give you a little grace, husbands, if you're catching that score. But I want to make sure that you also catch what we have tonight. Boy, we have something in store for
Yes.
you. So it's a little different this year. I realize we're not in our wonderful Ray of Hope on the St. Paul campus, but instead this year you may be on your sofa or in your home office or wherever it is, and you're a little bit more casual this year, but we are going to have a great time.
Yes, yes. Please make sure that you are on the couch snuggling up with your boo, whatever the case may be, and that you're going to enjoy. We have a lineup of powerful, impactful speakers tonight that we are just looking forward to getting into. So we're going to jump right into this thing. And next up, we're going to bring up Team Lee to set the mood and show you what we got going on tonight. Hey, Team Lee.
Hey, T.
Hey, how's everybody doing out there tonight? So this is Team Lee. I am Quincy Lee, and this is my beautiful wife, Christy. And welcome again to Love Notes Volume 3. And so with Love Notes this year, what we wanted to do is do a little bit something different. We offer for those that registered an opportunity to pick up a Love Notes gift box with a few things in it to just set the mood for today. And what I'm going to do is pass it over to Christy. She's going to walk through some of the things that are in the box, and then we'll talk about how we can utilize those things as we go through our Love Notes 3.0.
So, as Quincy said, we were able to give Love Notes box to the couples that registered. So, in the instructions had very specific things that said that there is a section 1, and the section 1 really is about spending quality time with your spouse, and this is that quality time. So we were able to provide hot cocoa, some chocolates, some popcorn, so you could sit back and relax and really enjoy all of the great information that's going to be presented to you today. And then after the event, what we want you to do is celebrate the fact that you actually spent that quality time together. And what we provided was your ability to toast to your investment in your marriage. So we have sparkling apple cider, candles, and then we also have lotion or massage oil. So what we want everyone to do is toast to your investment. That is your spending quality time together, and then offer to give each other back rubs. Again, when we think about love languages and all of the different things, this gives us the ability to represent physical touch and really show acts of service to our partners. So it's really, really part of the entire experience. So we thank everyone for coming to get their boxes today, and I hope you enjoy them.
Hey, we're going to pass it over to, see, I'm trying to touch and rub now, right before we start. We're going to pass it over to Dr. Scott and First Lady Pierre to kind of kick us off with just a few words of just kind of welcome for everybody.
Hey there. First of all, let me say great job again by Team Lee and Team Davis for putting together this wonderful evening of Love Notes 3.0. We are excited to be a part of this. Brother Shantez, you and I, we have to have some words.
Duke fan.
You know, Duke is really struggling, but you don't have to be boasting about North Carolina. There's another half to be played. So, Just want to let you know that, Brother Shantez. Anyway, we are certainly delighted to have these wonderful presenters that's going to be sharing with us tonight, and looking forward to them growing. Now, we didn't get one of those love note boxes. What's up with that?
Hey, Pastor, we actually had them at the church today.
I don't go to church.
Yeah, so
They're at the church today.
so we'll make sure you get one, because trust me, those boxes can be used at any time.
Exactly.
Oh, I thought y'all. I listen. You know, I don't go to church.
He's starting already.
So, anything you want to say before we get started?
Yeah, just welcome to everyone. I'm so glad that you have joined us, and we are just happy to be able to have even a virtual Love Notes 3.0 we're looking forward to tonight. So let's get to it. Let's get started.
Awesome. Well, here we are again. We are here to just give you a brief introduction of our guest speakers, and then we're going to get right into some spoken word after that.
Right. We're already here.
Oh yeah, we have our Apple Cider team lead. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to hop right into this. After our special entertainment tonight, the first person that you're going to hear from is Patrice Bush.
Yes.
From where is she from?
It Takes Two Marriage Coaching.
There
right?
She goes.
Yes, right out of Charlotte, North Carolina, right here. In Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome, Miss Patrice Bush. Again, It Takes Two Marriage Coaching.
And then
I do want to say, there were some lucky couples out there that came by St. Paul today.
Yeah.
Yes, and they actually received a free copy of her book, her latest book. So some of you were able to receive a copy of that book. Special thanks to Miss Patrice Bush, and she'll probably tell you a little bit more about if you didn't get a copy, how you can get a copy. But we want to let you know that we are grateful for you donating those books to St. Paul couples. So
absolutely,
thank you so much, and you'll hear from her soon. Who else do we have?
We have Reverend and Mrs. Walter Bowers Jr. over there at Steel Creek campus. Thank you guys so much.
That's Ebenezer Baptist Church, Steel Creek campus. Yes, that is Pastor Walt, as some call him, and First Lady Tiffany. So we are so grateful to have you guys here, and we'll get to hear from them soon.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited about that.
Now, the fellas, you're going to be excited about this last guest.
Okay.
You want to tell them who the last guest is?
Oh, you can tell them.
All right. Well, this is Brother Todd Malloy. Tell him, where is he from?
He is from Inner Peace Counseling. Again, right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Look at us, local.
Yeah.
Yes, and so Mr. Todd Malloy, again, Inner Peace Counseling. Did you want to say he's a licensed marriage and family therapist? There was someone who told me, they hit me up and said, "You're having Mr. Todd Malloy. He is the truth." That's what they said. They said he's the truth.
Yes.
And so I am looking forward to hearing that. You said that the husbands need to hold on for this.
Yeah, hold on for that one, fellas. You want to hear what he has to say, okay?
Okay. Somebody said, "Why only the fella?" I know, right? So I believe he's going to be for all, but he must have something
he
special
has something special to say, I'm sure.
For the husband. Okay, gotcha. All right, so again, wonderful lineup. You are not going to want to miss this, guys. You're not going to want to click off. I understand you said there may be a game on or whatever, but you're not going to want to click off this. You want to keep it going. You want to hear all of the speakers. Is there something you want to say?
Yes, and we want to encourage you to like, give us some hearts, share this stream to your timelines so other people can see it. This is going to be a fun evening, guys. Y'all know how we roll.
Evening. And that being said, too, also, have some conversation in the chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the space that you're in, engage with the speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you're thinking, right? This is a relaxed and fun atmosphere. You'll see Pastor and First Lady interacting. So we're having a great time tonight. Mm-hmm. Let us know what you're thinking. Give us some feedback, excuse me, and let's just have a great time.
Absolutely. So without further ado, up next, who you're going to hear from is our entertainment tonight.
Our very own.
This brother here brings the funk every time he does a poem. I'm so excited. He has his lovely wife with him tonight.
That's my girl.
Yes, and they're going to do a poem. Listen, Reverend D'Angelo Dia and his lovely wife, Mrs. Emily Dia. Thank you, guys.
Hi, Team Dia.
Hi. We're glad to be here with y'all. I'm going to read a poem, actually. One of our rituals is to read a poem before we go to bed each night to each other. And this is Love Poems by Nikki Giovanni, the inimitable. If you don't know her work, you should read it. And this is called A Poem of Friendship. We are not lovers because of the love we make, but the love we have. We are not friends because of the laughs we spend, but the tears we save. I don't want to be near you for the thoughts we share, but the words we never have to speak. I will never miss you because of what we do, but what we are together.
And I'm going to recite an original poem titled Ask and Answer. Love Jones, Queen and Slim, Brown Sugar, Jason's lyric, Coming to America, Trading Places, Do the Right Thing, Love and Basketball. Brown Sugar, Poetic Justice, Purple Rain, Marvin Gaye, Luther Vandross, Sunshine Anderson, Frank Ocean, Sam Cooke, Lauryn Hill, Brandy. She makes me whole. She knocks at the door, and before I open, I can feel her presence. She brings me comfort. Her presence compels me to smile in the face of adversity. She refuses to allow me to pity myself, live life less than. When society did its best to socialize, program, oppress, and hinder me, through her, God made it possible for me to be me. She makes me whole. She expands the capacity of my tenacity. She is the righteousness of the creator divinity in the flesh. She makes me whole. Like water for chocolate, every great action flick has the dramatic, explosive countdown sequence. You have the consequential decision, the red or the blue wire. Sweat drips down your face. Hands unconsciously shake. Every internal organ sings to you as if this is the moment. If George Jefferson did it, you can. If Uncle Phil did it, you can. There have been countless scenarios, harbingers of the anointing. Breathe. 20 seconds remain. Does anyone object? You understand the enormity of this moment. Knees buckle, breathe. 10 seconds remain. To have and to hold, breathe. 5 seconds remain. I do. I was sitting there laughing, thinking on a complex situation when the statement kept popping in my head that a brother glided across the airwaves to me. He said, "Do you have a sensitive side?" Eyes roll, searching for the voicer and receiver. Could you believe this? A brother had the nerves to respond back and said, "Well, yes, I do." Now, this could really lead to the wrong situation, but then again, how could they not feel me when I started to spill reality of love? Sporadically, radically, bubbling up inside of me, I said, "Brothers, you must fail to realize Nzinga carried a tribe. She sat on the backs of brothers as thrones, and I'm supposed to act uninspired because y'all got macho complexes and be lying to yourselves about how tough you are." I wish I would have told our folks like Harriet to follow the North Star, but I was too busy chasing after the next skirt. But now I read Nikki asking me to kill the Negro inside of me. And because y'all got complex, I'm not supposed to envy these sisters' strength. I trade anything to sip hot cappuccinos with Sonya and listen to her while she spit cool haikus. I love to be at a Women of Worth tea party where the sisters do a battle over Tanakas, over sweet taffies, laughing at how ego-tripping brothers are boring. And on the wall are pictures of Audrey Lloyd and Gwendolyn Brooks, Madam C.J. Walker, Sister Betty Shabazz, holding the hands of brothers who ain't supposed to be in prison. They should have listened when Mama told them so. And while I'm not knocking iceberg slim books, why not try some Angela Davis or Bell Hooks? Feminists, but realists, idealists, and they're not afraid of what any man has to say. But we too complex to stand with our woman and hold her hand in the mall or write sweet love poems. Because if you read about Asada, that love and struggle was too persuading. So take a vacation to Cuba, perhaps, and let her convert you to communism or communalism, and perhaps then you'll be committed to life, free from strife, and understand the healing power of love and stop wondering why I like Maya and Tony. Take a break and feel something soothing and refreshing, gentle and spiritually caressing, mild and uplifting, women whispering, saying, "That's manly of you. I appreciate you standing with me, not leaving me alone, appreciating my mind, loving my soul. I love you. I love you 3000. Because I'm no less a man, and being sensitive runs hand in hand with understanding. And I understand the struggle of mothers, struggling to go see those brothers every weekend. Y'all need to think about who's down, strong, and resilient, raising her children's children. And you think I'm ashamed to say that I got that in me? I wanted to instill, fulfill, and nourish me. Now, nobody wants to talk about love because they're talking about I tried to make them feel bad. And I'm not saying they don't appreciate my words, nah. I'm just saying that if you take the time to articulate a question, be prepared for the answer and understand that God didn't take Adam's rib for nothing. It was a blessing. Thank you.
This is Woods. Hello, everyone. This is Team Woods. I'm Reggie. This is my wife, Wanda, of 28 years. May will be 30. We have two boys, well, two young men now. One 26, one 22. Actually, my oldest son is in law school. We talk every day, and my youngest son is still here, being just who he is. But anyway, I really enjoy this ministry. I have learned a lot from being in this ministry. Actually, me and my wife started the ministry at St. Paul, and one thing I've really learned is that you have to communicate. Communication is the key in a marriage, because marriage is very tough.
Right, sure.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, y'all hear that? So marriage is tough.
Work.
Yes, it's work. But I just wanted to give you just a little brief synopsis of me and my wife, Wanda. And Wanda, you take it over.
So at this time, it is our pleasure to introduce to you all our first guest for tonight, Mrs. Patrice Webb Bush. She is an author, a business owner, and executive trainer. She is the founder and CEO of It Takes Two Marriage Coaching, strengthening the family through premarital and marital counseling, marriage retreats and workshops, support groups, and keynote speaking. With dual certification in counseling and social work, Mrs. Bush speaks from both academic and personal experience. She is the author of Celebrate Love Couples Journal, 120 Activities to Make Connecting Fun, Repairing Your Christian Marriage, Faith-Based Strategies to Rebuild Your Relationship, and several other publications. Mrs. Bush has appeared on television, radio shows, keynoted major events, and hosted over relationship events worldwide. Mrs. Bush is a wife, the mother of 3 amazing girls, and resides right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So without further ado, please put your hands together and welcome Mrs. Patrice Bush.
Thank you for that awesome welcome. I appreciate that. I want to start off by thanking the pastor and first lady of St. Paul Church, as well as your leadership and your marriage ministry, for inviting me here today to speak to your congregation and all of those who are tuned in. I asked when I was asked to speak on this panel or this conference, and my first question was, what's the topic? And so I was told that I can choose whatever I want to talk about, y'all. And that's kind of rare. Usually they give you like a guideline of what they're looking for. But I was excited about this opportunity to speak about whatever I wanted to. So I put, just kind of was thinking about in my office, like, what can I offer these couples? I know there are a combination of some of you all who may be engaged, and then of course couples that are newlyweds, and then of course couples that have been married maybe 20, 30, 40 years. So I thought the one thing that we all have in common, no matter what stage you are in relationship, is conflict. It is the one thing that we all have in common. And what I know about conflict is that sometimes in marriages and even in the dating portions before we get to the marriage, we sometimes avoid conflict because we think that conflict is bad. And so I just want to say this, and then I'm going to teach you some quick steps on conflict resolution. So what I know of after doing this work, I'm a therapist here in the area, servicing couples every day through premarital and marital counseling. And one of the most common things that I hear people say is that we don't argue a lot, so we have a good relationship. Or we argue so much, we must have a bad relationship, right? And so what I always tell my couples is you don't really want to be on either extreme, because the quality of your relationship is not determined by the amount of conflicts that you have, but it's determined by the way you get through the conflicts that you have. You're two people meshing life together, trying to do this thing. Of course, there's going to be times and moments where you don't always see eye to eye. So conflict is normal. What I want to ensure is that you know how to get through the conflict. So really quickly, I'm going to go over 10. And I said 10, and I got 10 minutes. So it's going to be really fast. 10 quick steps to resolve your next conflict. Or maybe it's the conflict that you're having right now that you just ain't speaking on. Really quickly, I also want to mention this. I am accustomed to doing things live. This whole pandemic has been like tough on the sister to adjust to the virtual piece. And so I love walking around and moving around. So I want you to do this while you're on your couch or in your bedroom, or wherever you are watching this. When you hear something that applies to you, I want you to say, that's me. You'll hear me own my stuff too throughout my little time with you. But I want you to own it. And when you feel like you need to own something, that's the opportunity for you to turn on those listening ears and take those notes and make sure you get this strategy. Okay. So 10 quick steps. Here we go. First step, make sure that you have a time and place for the discussion to resolve the conflict. How many times have the two of you all fallen out at a baseball game or fallen out when you were out to dinner with a group of friends, or maybe you were at church, or maybe you're at your parents' house or another family member's house? You have some kind of conflict. Is that the opportunity or the space for you to try to resolve it? No. I always encourage my couples, create a time and space and say, this is the time that we're going to come back and rehash that conversation that we had earlier. Yeah, that one where you got on my nerves and you said something I didn't like this morning over breakfast when the kids are present. I want to make sure that we talk about that tonight and we resolve that before we go to sleep, right? So that's step number one. Step number two, define the problem and be specific. Here's what I mean by this. How many times have the two of you been maybe having a conversation over who was going to wash the dishes? And by the end of the conversation, it turns into who doesn't feel appreciated or feels too appreciated within the relationship. That's me. I'm notorious for that. I own my stuff, right? And so defining the problem, make sure that the two of you are talking about the same things. Oftentimes when I see couples that start on one conflict and by the end of the conversation, they're arguing about something completely different, that's because they never resolved the last conflict that they had. So they ended that last conflict on a level 5 or a 6, and then they start into this new conflict. They don't come to the table at a 1 because they're still at the 5 or 6 they were at from the last conflict, right? So define your problem, be specific, know exactly what you're addressing and what you're trying to solve. Here's step number 3. Be accountable. Say out loud what it is that you need to, the way that you have contributed to the conflict. I know for me, I'm saying that to me again, I'm notorious for saying, oh, no, I know exactly what happened here. See, if you hadn't did this and if you hadn't did that, and remember 3 weeks ago when you did this, that's me. I am really good at pointing out other people's flaws, but I'm not always the best, and I'm getting better over time. I'm not always the best at being accountable to my own flaws. So we got to make sure that step number 3, you are owning, here's how I contributed to this problem. Here's what I did, or here's what I think I did that led this to become what it is, that led us to this argument or this fight. Step number 4, create the atmosphere for you to resolve the conflict. This is super important. So I'm just going to give you some quick little tidbits in here. So make sure that you meet each other in the same physical space. So if I want to address my husband about something that he did this morning over breakfast that made me upset, and I walk into the living room and he's sitting on the couch, I don't want to stand above him and try to address him about this conflict. I want to sit on the couch and meet him where he is. If he's laying in the bed and I walk in the room, I don't want to stand in front of him. I don't even want to sit on the bed beside him. I'm going to lay in the bed beside him. So having that same physical level is important because it decreases the opportunity for one to think they have to become defensive because they're being attacked. Second little thing I want to add here, use physical touch. And this is all about creating the atmosphere, right? Use physical touch. So if you know you're having a conversation that may be difficult, that may be touchy, maybe you tried to have this conversation last year and it turned into something crazy, right? Then you might need to make sure that when you're talking with your partner, you put your hand on their knee. Maybe you put your hand on their back as you're addressing them, because we know that touching, physical touch, body to body, helps ease blood pressure, helps to calm us down, and helps to soothe us when we're addressing very difficult topics. Use terms of endearment. Let me tell you what I do. Let me tell you the that's me moment, right? When I'm mad at my husband, the very first thing I do is I say, dude. He don't get no name. He don't get honey. He don't get sugarfoot. He don't get love. No terms of endearment when I'm mad. He's dude, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to use terms of endearment when we are addressing our partner, when we're trying to resolve a conflict. So make sure you're saying things like honey, baby, whatever y'all call each other, pumpkin, sweet cakes, whatever it is, use those terms when you're having these difficult conversations, because again, they help to calm each other down. They help us to realize that although we're talking about something difficult or challenging, I'm still doing it with the person that I love. right? And so that's going to help me to make sure I'm addressing this or I'm approaching it from the right angle. Last thing I want to say in this setting the atmosphere piece is that you want to make sure that you are not hitting below the belt. So these are all things that you'll come up with before this conflict resolution begins. So you know the areas that your spouse is sensitive. You know the terms that bother them. You know if you get to clapping your hands, that's me. Anybody else? When I get to clapping my hands, my husband already know I'm too upset probably to try to resolve conflict, and he'd be like, "Patrice, calm it down. Let's try it again. I'm gonna give you 5." Or maybe I choose to take that 5 because I know that I'm not in the best place, right? We always want to make sure that we are meeting each other on equal playing field, and we're not doing things that we already know in advance is going to irritate our spouse if we're trying to resolve a conflict. All right, so moving on. Now, what I want you all to do, now that you set that atmosphere, now what you want to do is to brainstorm solutions. Think about what can we do to resolve this particular conflict that we have. Don't judge each other. Don't criticize the solutions that you come up with. Be open to all things. What may work this time? Do we need to make sure that when we talk about money that we're sitting down over dinner, because we know that eating food can calm us down and make us, maybe we're not as hype or we're not as worked up if we're eating while we're talking about money, right? Does it mean that when we are addressing our kids that maybe we have a conversation behind closed doors first before we come out of the room and have that conversation with the kids about what the rules are and the guidelines are, so that our kids always see us as a united front? So you want to brainstorm these options. Then once you get your list of things that you're brainstorming, then you're going to agree on 1 or 2 things that you are going to work on. So 1 or 2 of those strategies. So if you got a list of 10 brainstorming strategies, you don't want to work on all 10 to resolve the conflict. That's too much at one time. Choose 1 or 2 that you're going to agree to work on. Next, you want to make sure, and this is just if you're keeping track of the steps here, this is step number 7. You want to make sure that you are that you individually agree on what it looks like to address that particular solution. So if it's a matter of us having a conversation behind closed doors before we go back out in front of the kids, then I need to know exactly what that looks like for me. My husband needs to know what that looks like for him. Next step, you want to create checkpoints. You want to make sure that you follow back up with each other. I always recommend weekly, and make sure that the solution that you came up with is working for the conflict. Again, this is all about conflict resolution. Next thing I want you to know, and this is super important, and that is praise each other for your accomplishments that you're doing. So when you're trying these different strategies, if you notice your partner working on them, if you notice your partner changing, even if it's small increments or baby steps, you want to make sure that you acknowledge that. I don't know about y'all, but I don't go to work every day without knowing that I'm not going to get a paycheck. We're no different in marriage, right? You want to make sure that the effort that you're putting in with your spouse is going to be acknowledged. So tell your spouse, hey, babe, I want to thank you for cooking that meal today. That was super good. Or, hey, baby, I thank you that you take this trash out every single day, and I know I don't have to worry about it. So acknowledge that. And then put the 10-step process on repeat. That's my really quick 10 steps for conflict resolution. I hope that you all will always choose to fight with the right tools and strategies instead of avoiding conflict or instead of sweeping them under the rug, because guess what? They never really go away. They're always still there. Even when we think they're under the rug, they're still present. Thank you all for your time tonight. You all happy conflict resolution fighting, and I'll talk to you soon.
Wow, that was great. Thank you, Patrice, for those 10 tidbits of conflict resolution. If you missed some of them, a couple of them, just want to throw out there is make sure that you define the problem and be accountable for your actions. And also, don't hit below the belt. Sometimes we have a tendency to take things a little bit too far. So sometimes it's good to, just pull back and be retrospective about the whole thing and just, pull back and get ready and don't hit below the belt.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Brianna, and this is Marco, and we are Team McNeil. We have been together for 12 years, married 10 years in July, so milestone anniversary coming up. We are together, have 3 wonderful, vivacious, passionate, talkative, engaging children. Mari, Juice, and our Nova Bean, our youngest. So we are so happy to be here tonight for this Love Notes 3 edition. Just by the way, we're originally from Cleveland, Ohio. So we are Browns fans, Ohio State fans. You can't be from Ohio and not be an Ohio State fan or Browns fan. So just want to put that out there. So thanks for being here tonight.
I want to get ready to introduce our next guest. They are Team Bowers, the Bowers family. I want to introduce first Lady Bowers, Mrs. Tiffany Bowers. She is a native of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and a graduate of North Carolina A&T. North Carolina is it A&T State University? Anyways, go Aggies. We got a bunch of Aggies. I know a whole bunch of y'all are out there watching us, so go Aggies. And the man that has the privilege of being her husband is one of my dear friends, a colleague in ministry, Reverend Walter Bowers Jr. He knows when I call, I need some good advice, and I definitely may need some legal advice because he is a graduate of Charlotte School of Law. He is also an undergraduate grad of Miles College, hailing from Bessemer, Alabama. He is also the campus pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, Steel Creek location. And they are the parents of triplets, Jonah, Jacob, and Joshua. And Pastor Bowers, I see you there, Pastor Walt. It's time that we add a little bit of red into this because, I heard a lot of Duke Carolina talk earlier, and I know that you are an Alabama fan. And
Roll Tide.
I am a fan of the number 7 ranked basketball team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes. So this is up to you, man. Go ahead, take it away.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope y'all doing well. Listen, I was born and raised in SEC country, meaning that in November, when Alabama Crimson Tide destroys the Auburn War Eagles, certainly all attention is there. So when I moved to ACC country and started to get into this basketball thing, hey, I really want to give a special shout out to all of the sisters and brothers who are with us tonight. Look, the score is going across the bottom. I don't want to cause no problems. I don't want to tune out. But what I've been told is that the struggle has been real for both of y'all teams this year anyway. So we praying, that y'all have something to cheer for. Okay, anyway, we moving on. Listen, so certainly glad to be here. One of the things that we wanted to share was our one thing, and my wife and I, we certainly had some good conversation about our one thing. So let me tell you a quick story before I tell you what the one thing that we'd like to share with you. I certainly was reflecting on a situation, had opportunity to minister to a couple, and the issue was simple yet profounding and complex all at the same time. She said that my last child graduated from high school. I have no idea what my husband and I are going to do next. And I said, what do you mean? She said, all these years we've been focused on raising kids. We've been focused on career. And now this guy that's laying next to me, I don't even really know who he is. And I thought about that and I was like, man, how easy how easy would it have been for me to be in that situation in the future, or how easy for that to happen to any of us? I think sometimes we think about major issues as it relates to why our relationships fail. But in that particular case, the challenge was the fact that as seasons changed, they weren't being in tune with one another. So without any further ado, the one thing that we just wanted to share with you is really just to remind you to adjust to the season that your spouse is in. If we could share one thing with you, it'd be to tell you to learn to adjust to the season that your spouse is in. Let me tell you a little bit about that. If I had to look at our life to make this analogy make sense, I'd have to look at our life in seasons, right? My wife and I, we kind of talked about it, and she's going to jump in a minute. But our first season was a pretty normal standard season. Yeah, it was good. Would you say it was good? Mm-hmm. Yeah, our first season, it was just me and her. We got married. We didn't have any kids. It was just us. We were living life and just trying to figure things out. What I did learn in that first season, especially around 2009, 2012, was that somebody earlier, one of the presenters earlier talked about the danger, and I think it was the previous presenter we were on that. If I'm gonna be honest, sis, I appreciate a transparent presenter and therapist. I think we fell on the spectrum of there was nothing wrong per se, but I was so busy with school. She was so busy trying to be the CMS Teacher of the Year. And in reality, one of the things that we were not doing was adjusting well to one another. Both of us was hustling. We didn't have kids. We was grinding. We was going to be the greatest at what we were doing. And we weren't I don't think we were, we didn't really argue. I don't think we had any arguments in that first season. And, you know, it was really because while we had good times, I mean, most of our time was spent just on our grind. And when I look back on that now, I was like, man, we didn't start off right. I think we, you know, I think we should have really been spending more time trying to, you know, learn one another. I should have been spending more time trying to see where my wife's headspace was as she was a teacher, as she was a literacy coach, as she was growing in her career. And I think she sometimes did a good job of trying to see where I was. But many times I just be focused on my hustle. Fellas, y'all can relate. When you're grinding, you just focused on your hustle, you focus on your grind. And if you're not careful, you're not in tune with your wife. So first season was not too bad. Anything you want to say about the first season?
No, it wasn't bad at all. I can just recall, for one, I was single for a very long time.
Yeah, my wife, she's a cougar, by the way. Yeah, you know, she got a young tenderoni in me, you know, but yeah, so.
Yeah, so being single for a long time and then adjusting to that married life, a good transition, but there were times like I would go out to the mall or whatever and then just be like, wait a minute, it's pretty dark outside, it's getting late, I need to get home, you know, whatever, because I got a husband at the house, you know, and things like that. So I mean, if I had to adjust, that was probably, you know, just some of the things that I needed to adjust to.
Yeah, stop buying them little tiny size milks as if you were still living by yourself. Anyway, all right, so we go on we go on to the next one. But then, you know, in the second season of our life, season 2, I really believe that we saw challenges like we'd never seen before. At first I was like, this marriage is work thing, I don't know what people are talking about. But 2012 to 2016, we saw extraordinary challenges in our careers, personally, everything. And that certainly took some adjustments. Some of those challenges, I had, you know, graduated from law school and I was looking to transition in career. And obviously I think you know, ministry wise, I gotten ordained in 2013 and I'm like, okay, Lord, what's next? What's next in ministry? What's next in my career? And then more importantly, you know, my wife, really her heart's desire for us to have a family was really, you know, like never before. And so actually what I did was I delayed, you know, taking the bar exam because we wanted to focus on having a family. And it's funny, you know, raw and real. It's one of them things, y'all know how it is. Back in the day when we was all in the streets, because we ain't in the streets no more, right? We all saved, we love the Lord, we don't do them things no more. But back in the day, look, you go to the spot, you know, everybody got the spot, you know, but you go to the club or something, all you gotta do is look at a female long enough and his baby's everywhere. But listen, you try to live for the Lord, do it the right way and all that stuff, and next thing you know, you go through some challenges, and we look at it lightly. But when I tell you when I tell you that when we set out to have a family, and my wife, who was a school teacher by trade, we found out she was pregnant. We excited. But I remember that day from the school when she called me, she said she wasn't feeling well and she had a miscarriage. That was a game changer. And I will say, while we got up from that, right after that, I think I took the bar exam and I missed it by a few points. I'm talking about a few points. I think it was 7 points or something like that. And so then also in that season, we tried again as it relates to having a baby, and it didn't work out. So now my wife got to that point, you know, and we don't have time to share the testimony. We're going to honor time because we want y'all to invite us back. But I will certainly say, you know, she got to that point that, you know, she didn't want no helpful hints. She didn't want no devotionals. She didn't want no nothing. Right. She was just like, how can a person, you know, who, you know, loves God, try to do what God has said, how would he allow us to be in this situation? We don't have kids and these 2 miscarriages. And that's where I'm talking about the adjustment. I asked my wife earlier, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say too, at the same time with you trying to pass the bar exam, even though I'm not the one or was the one that was doing the studying, I was still, you know, right there in there with you. So I probably carried a lot of that
what you were going through also, just trying to pass that bar exam. So
I didn't know that. You just telling me this in front of the people?
I mean, that might be.
Is it my fault now? No. Jeez. Oh, yo, it's some counselors on here. We're going to see one. But yeah, no, seriously though. But that was look, we had the 2 failed pregnancies. We had so I missed the bar exam by 7 points. Then I missed the bar exam by 3 points. And at this point, people started to say stuff that y'all know how church folk do. Well, maybe that ain't what the Lord got for you. Maybe being a lawyer ain't what God got for you. Maybe not having kids is what God got for you. Y'all know how we do. And the adjustment, I think, for me was, I'm not sure. I could have I just feel like when I look back on it, I was there for my wife, but I don't really think I really understood the season she was in, like depression, right? So, or just even lost hope in faith. I really wish I had adjusted more, realizing that this should have been a full alert timeout. My wife is going through something, because here it was, the one thing she was hoping for her whole life. It didn't happen. And we should have made, I wish I could have.
You did.
I just feel like based on what I know now, I should have adjusted more. I mean, I try to do, but I feel like I could have adjusted more to the season that you was in. So anyway, for the sake of time, we went through 2012, 2016, but God was faithful. We continue to trust the Lord. We were blessed, and I'll show you as we transition into season 3. Season 3 in our life, the Lord did a new thing. For those of you all that know us, when God shows up, he shows out. Look at there. For all of the failed pregnancies, look at what God did. We got 2 and then 1. So, or as we like to say in the church, 1 for the Father, 1 for the Son, and 1 for the Holy Ghost. Amen. So God has blessed us in an amazing way. He's doing new things in this season. My wife has, after 20 something years in the school system, came out early to teach, to homeschool our kids. And that's a great thing. Now I was an executive pastor. I was, doing that type of work, but now to actually be pastoring our own church, God, God is doing a new thing, and there's adjustments that need to be made. I've never been, a pastor of a location before. My wife's never been in her position before. We never parented triplets before. All this stuff going on. The biggest thing that I'm worried about now is when do we have time, right? And we laid out fruit snacks and chocolate chip cookies and apple juice boxes on the table. Like, look, get daddy and mama 10 minutes, please. If y'all give us 10 minutes, and it's working right now. So I'm gonna stop talking because I'm out of time. But the last one is simply this. We are excited about what's next. We a whole lot of awesomeness. But what we have learned, the one thing is, as we adjust to the season, whatever is next, we are prepared to make those adjustments. And we know that we got to be in tune with one another and be intentional about it. So listen, this is 5-star. Shout out to that spoken word. Shout out to that therapist. And love you all. Shout out to St. Paul. I tell you, if they get rid of me at Ebenezer, St. Paul, y'all gonna be my church. If y'all just let me sit in the back for the first 2 years, though, I don't even gotta read no scripture. Y'all great. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing, and love y'all. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, we definitely understand the different seasons that you go through in life, and we definitely understand laying out those fruit snacks. We got our son in the back right now, and I'm telling you, he done walked around here 3 times with 3 different book bags on, and I don't know where. I think he got a wrench or something in his hand. I don't know what's going on back there, brother, but I don't know what season we might be in. A season of fix it. I don't know what's going on. We definitely understand going through the seasons in life, and to give that testimony that you all gave is very powerful, because there's a lot of people, my wife and myself, we had some challenges as it came down to having a child. And so, now that we have that one, we do appreciate it. I don't know about them 3. I'll let y'all keep them 3. We'll just roll with the father. I'll let y'all. But certainly thank you all for everything that you've done. You did a great job. All right.
Thank you, sir.
We are Team Stevenson.
I'm Mary, and this is Jeffrey. We've been married for 7 years, going on 8 years. We have a wonderful son named Isaac, and we have an 8-year-old dog named Mila, and they both keep us very busy.
Very, very busy. One thing that we learned over the course of our marriage is the aspect of respect and love. And we learned very early on about respect and love. whenever we were dating, actually, without being known to the other person, we would always call the other person or text the other person, kind of let them know like where we were at. We never discussed it. We never talked about it. But just from conversations that we learned that the other person had been hurt from some scars from past relationships and some infidelity that had taken place. And so what we did, we would just always tell the other person where we were at. And it's funny, we never talked about it until we got married. We mentioned to the other person why we did it. And so we would laugh about it because it's like, I did it just so you would know. But you were doing it just to let me know. And it was really just looking out for the other person because of the amount of respect that we have. And that same respect has kind of grown over time with each other. And, you know, it's gone into our relationship. It's gone into our marriage. And it just has made us a better couple and more trusting and respectful towards one another.
So yes. So now the moment you've all been waiting for.
In the words of Salt and Pepper, let's talk about sex, baby. So our next speaker is none other than Todd Malloy, who specializes in mental and sexual wellness. He is the founder of Inner Peace Counseling, located in the Charlotte area. He has more than 18 years of faith-based counseling and a lifetime of community service work. With compassion and understanding, he joins with clients to help them build on their strengths and embrace a life worth celebrating. So whether you are an engaged or married couple, whether you're engaged or whether you've been married for 1 year or whether you've been married for 20 years, Todd Malloy has something that we can all benefit from as it relates to the topic of sex. So without further ado, please welcome Mr. Todd Malloy. And we're looking forward to you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Just one quick thing I got to say to the McNeils, go blue. They're ranked number 4. I just want to say that. University of Michigan. So I'd like to say thank you to, St. Paul Baptist Church, to, obviously Pastor Scott and First Lady. This is a wonderful forum, and I applaud what's being done, what's being demonstrated, what's being ministered. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I talk about sex all day long, and yes, I am a Christian. One of the things I've understood in my study biblically and then in life, God doesn't have an issue with sex. There may be some challenge with timing, but God is open, free, and willing, and encourages us to explore the many aspects of who we are as people. When I was asked to speak, I was asked to mention one thing that I thought would be important for everybody to know about sex. And in my reflection, the one thing that's most important is that we all be open to grow, to teach, to learn, and to share. Why am I saying that? It's because life is dynamic, not static. So is sex and sexuality. As the Bowers spoke earlier, talked about the phases of life, the many changes, whether it's conflict, whether it's new relationships, whether you're having children, whether you're having health issues. All of these things change, and in turn, they impact your sex lives, it impacts your sexuality, aging changes, all of those things come involved to impact your intimacy, your sex, how you want to relate, how you want to touch, how you want to be cared for. However, throughout life, we don't always think about talking about sex in normal, relaxed terms, no different than what we're doing now. Fully clothed, we can talk about sex. Most of the time when we talk about sex, or we talk about it under the cloak of taboo and discomfort based on societal factors, religious factors, and varying other things, family of origin issues. It is very important that we understand that sex is complex, and it really does need to be discussed like anything else. Why is that? It's because we are unique beings. Not one size does not fit all. It's almost like, okay, you have pieces and parts, I have pieces and parts, and we throw them together and hope for the best. We're taught to be excellent students. We're taught to be excellent professionals, but nobody actually teaches us how to be intimate partners. And by that, but that within itself means we're throwing ourselves in the hands of other people, hoping to hit a bullseye when they don't know us and we don't know ourselves. I always challenge my clients and individuals to really spend time learning yourself, understanding who you are as an individual, your wants, your needs, your desires, by doing personal exploration. Personal exploration is what does stimulate me? What does excite me? What are my mental interests? Because actually intimacy is neck up, not waist down. When I talk about intimacy is not just sex. Yes, it is sex. Sex can be intimate, but sex cannot be intimate. I'm talking about the global aspect of sex in regards to creating emotional connection, because that's truly what it's about. Creating an environment where I'm willing to be transparent, where I'm willing to be vulnerable, where I can feel trusting and I can feel safe. And then with that knowledge, I am able to teach my partner how to care for me and achieve whatever it is that I'm looking for. Also, it's very important that we're open to our partners. Why is that? Gentlemen, I think one of the earlier presenters shared that, guys get excited about this time. Yeah, well, cool. But guys, I want to say something specifically to you. Tupac said, "Tell daddy how you want it." That daddy never said how he was going to give it. For me, that was a message to all men, is to be open to hearing and not always being an expert. We may be an expert of our own knowledge, but we're not an expert with our partners. They're the expert. And for us to hit the bullseye and have the winning equation and feel like a hero, it's for us to be open to hear, open to grow, or open to share and demonstrate what we've heard and what we've learned. Therefore, we're setting ourselves up to be heroes, to be victorious, and pop our collar and do all the other things that we like to do when we're comfortable afterwards. In that, one of the things I think is very important for all of us to understand is that we own our own orgasm. It is not the responsibility of the other person to ensure our orgasm. And understanding our bodies, understanding our wants and our desires and teaching, but we're also taking accountability for where we want to go and how we want to get there. In that, intimacy and sexuality is not about a pelvic region thrust. Actually, it's about a full body experience. I think we need to slow down. So everyone is so focused on the orgasm. We're not talking about the outer course as opposed to just the inner course. It's about creating an experience and an environment where we can thrive. That means talking, walking, sharing intimate thoughts, dreams, passions, visions, and doing this not necessarily in the throes of intimacy, but while you're taking a walk, while you are across the dinner table, while you're watching a movie and you see something that intrigues you and inspires you or motivates you in some way or fashion, and in turn, being able to share that with your partner. I think it's a season and a time for us to really explore who we are and walk in the boldness of our authenticity, and in comfort, share with our partners what we're looking for. Why is that? It's because just because we may have a wonderful equation when we first got married or we first come together, but throughout the lifespan, we're changing. Our bodies are changing. Our interests are changing. Think about this. Nobody wants spaghetti the same way all day, every day. However, are we comfortable enough with ourselves to share with our partners? Can our partners put their egos down and recognize that this information is being shared? Why are we sharing it? I'm sharing this so we can win. I'm sharing this so we can stay connected. I'm sharing this so that we can grow and thrive. Why? Because in doing so, we're able to come together, not just throwing pieces and parts together, but we can come together with emotional connection, a physical connection, a spiritual connection, where the sum of the parts come together to create a godlike experience that is greater than the sum of the parts. Even science will tell you when there's emotional connection, intimacy is far better and can last longer. You don't have premature ejaculation when you make it about the experience as opposed to the mission. Mission being I'm focused on my partner having an orgasm. No, what I want to do is focus on being touched, being embraced, what it feels like, the warmth of their skin, the pressure that I'm being touched at, the temperature, the speed of what I'm touching. Because as my nerve endings are being stimulated, I'm feeling the resonation of that experience throughout of my body, and losing thought, not focused on what's going on in my mind, but experiencing the touch and the pleasure of being with someone that I'm safe with, that I'm willing to be transparent with, and that I'm willing to be vulnerable with. Sex is normal, ladies and gentlemen. Normal as in it's a part of who we are as a being. We are sexual beings. Bible is very clear to be fruitful and multiply. The Songs of Solomon highly talk about intimacy and sex in varying ways. It is time for us to be those students such that we can have the out-of-body, godlike experience that we all look for, but it also enhances the quality of our life, the quality of our union that can last a lifetime. So keep exploration and wonder in your lives. And again, enjoy life. It is to be celebrated. Thank you. And I believe we are just about my 10 minutes. So obviously, if there are any questions, things of that nature, please feel free. Thank you.
Lord, that was awesome. We thank you so much for that.
Appreciate it. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
We definitely took some notes and got some nuggets from that. Hi, my name's Jerica.
I'm Andre, and we're team.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Do you have any questions for me, I guess, at this point, or?
Oh, no, but let me tell you one thing that we definitely got from you is that our one thing is that we always come up with at the beginning of the year with a word, and you said boldness, which happens to be our word this year. The boldness of the opportunity to share who you are right in that moment. And that's a really good nugget, especially when you're talking about sex.
Especially. And listening to your information is how we ended up in this family situation that we are in currently. Yeah.
Excellent. Congratulations. Hey, foreplay changes, so be careful.
Yes, sir. You know it. We appreciate it. Thank you for your time, sir. That was powerful what you brought to us. So just giving a little more information about Team Graves. We've been together for 13 years and been married going on 8 now. We have our oldest is our angel child, Thad. Also have Tegan. And now we have our youngest baby boy on the way once again. So we just wanted to let you all know who we are and how much that St. Paul has really taken to us. We really love this marriage ministry. They have been a part of our journey since we've been here in Charlotte. And anything else you want to bring into it?
So we'd like to introduce our dynamic duo that leads us spiritually, that leads St. Paul and the St. Paul family, that we look up to and that we love because we have an awesome and dynamic, God-fearing pastor, Dr. Robert Scott, I apologize, and a praying first lady in Lady Pierce Scott.
This has been an incredible
first time since COVID that we've seen y'all. So
I know.
And
Hi, congratulations on your quarantine, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, we like the colors. We didn't even plan that.
I am so happy for you all,
Yes.
and you all deserve happiness. Before I'm gonna let Pierre do her thing, but before we do that, I want to give, first of all, just a major shout out to Quincy and Christy, to Asia and Shantae. Oh, y'all have knocked it out the park. And for all of the St. Paul family that have presented and have given you one thing, it has been just absolutely inspirational. Pierre has been taking gobs of notes, and I want to thank you all for that. And these presenters are life invigorating. So thank you to Brother Todd Malloy, to I believe Sister Patrice Bush, and to the Bowers. Yes. Thank you all so very, very much for all that you have poured into us. You're going to be hearing from me real soon in a formal thanks, but I want to just give you all a major shout out for how you have blessed our marriage ministry.
Yes.
When I came to St. Paul, we kind of made some shifts as far as the marriage ministry is concerned. And Wanda and Reggie Woods, of course, laid it out. It was originally called Flame. And then we we had conversation. They wanted to take it to another level, and they in themselves wanted to see some new leadership come up, and of course has provided guidance as far as that's concerned. So I want to thank Reggie and Wanda Woods for their willingness to see this thing continue to grow and to continue to be all that God will have for it to be. So this has been just an absolute incredible evening. Yes. As you all can tell, Deb has been kind of posting the Duke Carolina score across the timeline. But I am so glad that we were a part of this. And I'm going to let Pierre share what has been gleaned as closing remarks and our one thing. But again, to the leadership of the marriage ministry, y'all are so 5-star. God, y'all get it. So thank you all so very much. And I appreciate you all. Love you all dearly.
Yes. Well, one thing I did want to say is that we have been married 14 years. It'll be 15 in May. And we, for those who may not know, we have one daughter, Charis, who is 11.
Going on 22.
Yes. And we're just going to leave that right there. And but we're just so excited. And I echo everything that Pastor has said in terms of just the 5-star nature of tonight and everything that has been shared. And he's right. I have been taking notes, and just a couple of things that I wanted to share. He and I talked at length about what our one thing was, and we came to a mutual decision. And basically our one thing is that love is a choice. People say, "Oh, I fell in love," and like they tripped and fell over the sidewalk, or that they, stumbled or something like that, and make it seem like it's something that happens to you. But we think of love as a verb, as an action word, and something that you have to choose every day of your married life. And so one of the things, before we got married, we both had been married before. And so when we decided that we were going to get married, we said divorce is not an option. So we just took that off of the table right away. We knew whatever life threw at us, we were going to be in it and tackle it together. And so that really is the way that we approach our marriage, and the way that, over these almost 15 years. And I think in terms of really looking at what our devotion is to one another, we really try to live out our marriage vows and think about those on a daily basis, and think about what are the standards that we set for our marriage in the beginning, and try to continue to have that. I love what the Diaz, who are relatively newlyweds, mentioned in terms of reading poetry to one another every night. I love that. That's something that we should start doing, babe. You gonna write a poem for me?
I'm not that gifted. Nowhere near a Reverend Dia or Amanda Gorman. Nowhere near.
You know what? It doesn't have to be original. It can be something
Roses
that
are red, violets are blue.
All right.
I love you. Boo, boo, boo.
Okay, we're gonna work on that. Yes. But it's really about knowing your spouse, knowing their strengths, their weaknesses, and being able to move into whatever that collective strength is that the two of you bring to one another, and realizing that whatever your spouse's weaknesses is, hopefully that's a place where you are stronger, and that's what makes the two of you work better together. So that's really all that I wanted to share in terms of our one thing, was really that love is a choice. It is something that you choose, and it's something that you need to choose on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And
And I heard Brother Wood say that marriage is hard, and I want to, if I could, just recodify how we describe marriage at times, because I ain't trying to do stuff hard. Marriage is work. Let me say that again. Marriage is work. It doesn't have to be grueling, and it doesn't have to be, this like, but it is work. It is work. And it requires several things. And I say this and we'll close out. It requires much grace, much mercy, and a lot of forgiveness. And I can dare say that in 15 years of almost 15 years of us being married, Pira has had to demonstrate grace, mercy, and forgiveness to me way more often than I had to show her. And so, that's what it requires. And so, and the other thing that we try to do is outserve each other and outbless each other. So, again, this has been a great night. Thank you all for letting us share. And again, to the leadership, I just so appreciate you all and so thankful for this God-inspired event.
Amen. Amen.
Hey, what a wonderful evening. Oh my gosh. Team Lee, how y'all feel over there, Team Lee?
Hey, it was absolutely awesome, man. We toasting up apple cider. We
Yes.
It's lemonade, Pastor.
It's lemonade. It's lemonade.
Just to Pastor and First Lady, thank you for your support. We extremely value the support of Pastor and First Lady. Pastor is committed to educating couples, committed to marriage, and we just value that. We value being a part of a church where the leadership
absolutely
is so in tune with marriage and has a strong commitment to help to sustain the foundation of marriage. So yes, thank you for that, Pastor and First Lady. And it has just been a wonderful evening. It has been a wonderful evening, Team Lee. I know you agree. I'm sitting here. I know Sean has a few pointers, but I want to say, hey, what I'm taking away is sometimes one thing can change everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes one thing can change everything. So whatever that one thing is that you took away tonight, just remember that it just takes that one thing sometimes. Yes. And so what'd you take away?
My gosh. I mean, like it was just mentioned, I was writing notes and I scribbled all over my paper here. Listen, one thing that I want to say is just this. Marriage either gets better or worse. It doesn't stay the same. So what I pray and hope is that everyone here tonight that's been tuning in, that you take something away and that you apply it to your relationship with your spouse and you move forward, get better every single day. Marriage does not stay stagnant. It gets better or it gets worse. That's my little tidbit for tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. I know we're gonna go ahead and end our night. It's been such a great night, but I do want to say, just while we're here, winning wives. That's all of you here who are wives. You are winning because that's what we do. We have a book study starting tomorrow. Are you really his good thing? And so a part of our mission statement is to connect, lift, and inspire through study, right? And so tomorrow, before the Super Bowl, stick away, 5:00, are you really his good thing? And so the go-to meeting link is within our Facebook group. Please join us. All are welcome, all winning wives, and that is you. So please join us for the first session of this book study. Hope to see you there.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Team Lee, y'all have anything?
All right.
Thanks again, everybody, for coming out. It's been a great night. We're kind of going to close out. Remember, in those boxes, for those that got them, there's a little bit of some of the items that you can use after. So thanks again. We're going to do some massage lotions and some bubbly. So definitely
some rose petals.
So definitely enjoy the time with your spouse after this. And for those that are watching the game, it's at 88 to 87.
Ooh, it's close.
It's 17 seconds left. Go UNC. So let's wrap it up so I can check out these last 14 seconds. Thanks, everybody.
On that note.
Cheers.
Good night. We love y'all. Thank you so much.